Coming up on today's episode, we're doing our first What I Eat in a Day video of 2021. It's a new year with new commitments and we're all in. Let's get to the intro. Welcome back to another episode of Plant-Based Dads. I'm Joey. We are a vegan, whole foods cooking channel. We do some product reviews, some DIY, sometimes there's some baking with Tim. If you like what you hear so far, please hit that like button. Show us some love. And please consider subscribing and becoming part of the Plant-Based Dads family. Currently, we're in the middle of our 21-day January 2021 50-50 plate challenge. That is mostly done in the Facebook group and on the Instagram page. You can see a link to the Facebook group right here. It's Plant-Based Dads, Starch Solution Enthusiasts on Facebook. It's just thousands of people now, like over 4,000, doing the starch solution. As you know, I'm doing the starch solution. I've lost 30 pounds on it, and this year I'm really gonna focus and get the rest of the weight off. I have another 20 pounds to go. I absolutely love it. I love eating that way, that I don't have to count any calories like I did on Weight Watchers and so many other places, that I can eat till I'm full and not have to worry about the macro part of it. So today I'm doing my first 2021 What I Eat in a Day video. I've got some really cool stuff. Lately I'm on this smoothie bowl kick. Let's start with breakfast because I'm starving. All right, for breakfast, I'm really jonesing for a smoothie bowl. There's a lot of benefits to smoothie bowls versus the regular smoothie. One of the theories is that when you're eating your meals, whether it be a smoothie or a salad, you should be chewing it a lot, plenty of times. Putting it in a smoothie bowl, making it a little thicker, allows you the opportunity to chew your food and get better digestion. So that's what I'm going to do today, and I feel like that's what I need today. I'm going to start off with a cup of frozen mangoes right into my blender. Of course, you're going to need a high-speed blender for this. Next, I'm going to add some pineapple. Normally I throw in some frozen pineapple, but this week Tim cut up some fresh pineapple, so I've got about a cup of fresh pineapple slices. I absolutely love fresh pineapple, so if we have it, I want to use it. I've also got about 2 frozen bananas I'm going to pop in. Then I'm going to add in some baby spinach. This is just a leftover bag of spinach I have, and I'm just going to pop as much of it in as I can get in there. And then I'm going to add some plant milk. I'm using some Ripple pea milk. I'm just going to pour it in. It's about a cup. All right, so I want my smoothie bowl to be thicker than a smoothie because I want it to be spoonable, all right? So I may have to add more fruit, or when you're doing this, you might want to have less milk, or however it works out. Let's see how this turns out. All right, let's get this poured out and get started with it. Now for the toppings on the smoothie bowl, I like to keep it simple. I start with some more banana. I can never get enough banana. So I'm going to put some banana medallions or coins right on the top here. And then I also like to add some crunchiness. Sometimes I put just dry buckwheat on. Today I'm just going to add some grape nut cereal onto the top. And then to finish it off, I'm just going to add a few slices of strawberries. These are frozen that I thawed out, but they'll be fine. And there you have it. A nice, healthy, fruit and vegetable, morning pick-me-up smoothie bowl. As you can see here, it is absolutely beautiful and ready to eat. I'm going to be loving digging into this. It looks delicious. It's a great spoonable texture. It's so good. Maybe I shouldn't have took the crunchiness part first. I didn't have to mute that out. Let's try some of the softness. So delicious, guys. So good. Having the smoothie bowl over the smoothie gives you the opportunity to chew your food like we talked about. So if you have time to actually have the smoothie bowl, have it in a bowl. It's actually quite refreshing, and it's a nice little change of pace. Are you guys loving the apron? This is part of the new Plant-Based Dads merch. There's a link to it in the description below the video. It's not showing up in the in the little pictures, but if you go in the video description, there's a link to buy this. It comes in black also, which is really nice. All right, breakfast is a hit. I'm gonna see you at lunch. All right, we're back for lunch. So my plan was, I really wanted to have a burrito today. So I grabbed everything I'm gonna make for a burrito here, and I have the Ezekiel tortilla shells, and I open them up, and there's mold all over them. So I just bought them over the weekend, and there's mold on them. So I had to throw them out. I mean, that kind of happens. You kind of have to roll with the flow. So today I'm just going to have a plate with some beans and like a bean and cheese burrito without the burrito, right? All right, so what I've got here is my homemade cooktop version of my pinto bean recipe. My pinto bean recipe is absolutely delicious. And the video I have up there is years old, and it's still something we make like all the time. It's flavorful, but it is kind of a 4-hour process. We soak the beans overnight, and then you cook them on the stove, and you just let them stew for like 4 hours. But they've got so many great flavors in them. I'm gonna put a link right up here to that video. You should check that out. This is my favorite bean recipe as far as pinto beans. And of course, I buy the pinto beans at Costco. They're really cheap. I buy a 25-pound bag. So like the cost to make this recipe is just pennies, right? And then I'm also gonna have some cauliflower. I steamed a head of cauliflower for 10 minutes. And you know, all of this stuff is done Sunday for food prep. I'm not cooking anything now. I'm just throwing some leftovers together. So I'm gonna have that on the plate. This will be my non-starchy vegetable. I've got my starch with the beans and my non-starch right here. All right. So there we go with that. And then I've got my cheese sauce I'm gonna use. I have a link to that recipe right here. This is the one I'm currently using. I am working on another one that I'm trying to perfect. That's cauliflower based, but it's not quite there yet, but we're really close. In the meantime, I'm gonna use this one that I've used in a few videos before. This is the one I used for the potato bake video. Again, a link right above. I'm just gonna pour some of this on generously. And mostly on the cauliflower, because the cauliflower is just steamed like there's nothing on it, right? So I kind of want that to give me some flavor there. And then one last thing I'm gonna add on here is I've got some of my my braised red cabbage. I have a link for a video right here where we made this. It's absolutely really good. I'm not a big fan of cabbage, but when it's cooked like this in the Instant Pot, it's really sweet. I absolutely love it. So I'm gonna put that on right here. And you can see here, guys, it looks amazing. Those beans, they're absolutely beautiful in color. Speaking of color, the contrast of the cabbage against the white broccoli, it's absolutely beautiful. I mean, this is a beautiful rainbow of food. Let's give this a shot and see what it tastes like. I know it's good because it's leftovers. I've been eating it all week. So good. Pinto beans, still one of my favorite foods. I really wanted a burrito in this, but I wouldn't have gotten this much food in a burrito. So good. The braised cabbage is absolutely delicious. I love it. Again, I don't like cabbage, but I love this recipe. And it's made in the Instant Pot. I mean, how simple is that? Let's give this cauliflower a taste here. I'm just not a big fan of cauliflower, right? I don't like cauliflower rice. I don't really like cauliflower at all. But when you throw the cheese sauce over it, it's actually pretty good. Well, it's really good. All right, so this is my type of lunch. Food I just throw together without having to come up with a recipe. I hate recipe cooking. So what I do is I just meal prep on the weekend. We've talked about this many times. I've made meal prep videos. So meal prepping on Sunday night really sets me up for the week. And this is a good example of it right here. All right, we'll see you at dinner. It's been a long day and I'm ready for dinner. It's Thursday night. And at this point, I meal prepped on last Sunday. And I'm going to meal prep again this Sunday. And we're getting to the end of the week, so I kind of need to use up what's in the refrigerator so I can meal prep fresh stuff for the next week. Some of this stuff won't last more than another day or two. So I'm cleaning out my fridge with whatever I have, right? I'm not cooking anything. I've already cooked all the stuff. I'm just gonna show you what I'm gonna throw in here, what's in my fridge, and how I'm gonna make a bowl out of this. It's really simple, and that's kind of how Buddha bowls work, right? You don't wanna really have to go through a lot of trouble to make them. You don't have to cook anything new. I mean, you can, but for me, it's about using what's in the fridge. First, I'm going to start with my greens, right? So I'm going to grab some arugula here that I have. I love arugula because I love the peppery taste to it, right? And I feel like it goes really well with like citrusy dressings and light dressings. And I love to throw fruit in it when I'm having a salad. But for the base of this, I'm going to use the arugula. This arugula is already washed in the container, so I don't have to rewash it. Although, if I was kind of eating a salad out of it, I probably would, right? I'm just gonna put enough in there to kind of give me some substance. And that'll be my greens. I listen to the No Meat Athlete podcast a lot. I've listened to them for years, and Matt and Doug on there always talk about a green, a grain, and a bean. So I kind of follow that when I'm doing my bowls. And this is my green right here. All right, so I also want to layer the colors so they look really nice and like all the green stuff isn't next to each other. So my next item is going to be something non-green. So I have got some couscous here that I'm going to put in. Couscous is a grain that you can have on the starch solution. Just make sure that there's no oil in it or anything like that. This one isn't. I'll leave a link in the description below which one I'm using, but it's just some simple couscous with some vegetables in it. So I'm gonna kind of put that just kind of over here. All right, and that'll give me my nice grain right there. You see that color, it's looking really good. Next, I want to put something that's not yellow. Everything I have today seems to be either yellow or green except for the carrots. I'm going to put in some edamame. So I've got my green, my grain, and the edamame is my bean. So that's what I'm putting in next. This edamame is just from Costco. Now, it's frozen edamame in the big bags, and you get 12 small bags. It is still in the pod, right? You do have to squeeze them out of the pods, which I've had to do with all these, but I mean, I don't mind. I get to eat a few while I'm doing it, so it's really good. Next, I'm gonna put in something non-green. So I've got some yellow squash. I buy a bunch of yellow squash at Costco in the produce area. I think it's like $5 for a lot of it. And then I just kind of saute them in the nonstick skillet with some soy sauce and a little bit of maple syrup and some Italian seasonings. And then for like 7 or 8 minutes and it's done. I really need to do a video on this because these are so good. And I mean, I have them all the time. So yellow squash is next right here. And you can see that's starting to look really nice and colorful. And after that, I'm gonna put in some grated carrots. These are grated every week for the spring rolls and for the salads we have. So I'm just gonna add them in here. One of the things about Buddha bowls is that you have temperature differences in the food. Some of this food is hot, some of it's not, right? Like the edamame is hot, the squash is hot, warmed up, but the carrots aren't, the arugulas aren't, so it's okay to kind of mix all that stuff in. And then my last thing I'm going to put in is some steamed broccoli. Again, from Costco. You've seen me use this over and over again. The bags of frozen broccoli, throw them in the microwave. They're done in like 7 minutes. I usually season them. These are just steamed. They're not seasoned yet. So I'm just going to put those right here. And we got a jumper over here, right? And I think that looks pretty good right there. Now, some other things I'm going to add to this are a little bit of hemp seeds. When you're doing a starch solution, you have to be careful of hemp seeds. 3 tablespoons of hemp seeds is 15 grams of fat. So that's a lot of fat and a lot of calories, but they're really good for you and you should not avoid them. The starch solution isn't about avoiding whole food fats. It's about limiting them while you're trying to get to your goal weight and then incorporating them back. So I'm just gonna put in about a tablespoon. That's about 5 grams of fat. So I'm just gonna sprinkle that in there in the middle here. Actually, it's nowhere near a tablespoon, but I think that's good. And then I've got some of these seaweed flakes, these eat and shake seaweed flakes. I'll put a link to this down below. We've been kind of putting this on everything lately. Just kind of gives it a nice taste. And then you get the benefits of the seaweed. So I'm just gonna pour some of that on. All right, so our Buddha bowl is almost done. What you absolutely have to have for a Buddha bowl, otherwise you've just got a bunch of vegetables, is a sauce. So I made a quick kind of apple cider vinegar, Dijon mustard sauce, threw that all together in the blender. Here's how I made it. In a small blender, I added 1/2 cup of filtered water, 3 pitted medjool dates, 2 tablespoons of Dijon mustard, 1 teaspoon of garlic powder, 1 teaspoon of onion powder, a sprinkle of salt, and 1 tablespoon of apple cider vinegar. I blended it till it was well combined, and it was ready to pour and serve. So as you can see, it was pretty simple. I'm just gonna put a little bit of this on the top, just kind of give it some flavor. And this kind of just ties the whole thing in. So it's one complete meal instead of a bunch of meals that you didn't eat, because really that's what it is, right? And there you have it, an absolutely beautiful, healthy meal, Buddha bowl. I eat these probably maybe once every week, just kind of throwing stuff together. You can look around and see I've got the green, the grain, and the bean. The green is the arugula, the grain is the couscous, the bean is the edamame. Then I've got my other vegetables, I've got my seaweed flakes, I've got my sauce. I mean, it is ready to go. Let's give this a shot and see what it tastes like. Now, if I wasn't doing this on camera, I would just dump it into a bowl and mix it all up like a salad. But since we're doing this on camera, of course, I have it nicely separated and all that. But just so you know, when I'm not doing this with you, I eat just like you. Oh my, this is so good. I'm gonna grab a little bit of water here. Berkey, are you ready to sponsor me yet? That is so good. So I love all of these flavors independently. I cook all these foods every week because they're my favorites, but there's something about them being together and blending together that totally kicks it up a notch, right? It just makes it so much better. Now I'm having kind of a week's full of my favorite foods in one shot. It is so good. I can't stop eating this. Oh man. All right, guys, there you have it. One of my favorite Buddha balls. I absolutely love this. I'm gonna eat this whole thing as soon as this video is over. In the meantime, I wanna give it a shout out to Tim's mom, my mother Dee. I want to thank her. She bought me this apron. I set up the whole apron online, but never got around to getting a sample for myself. And she bought this for me. And she also bought the bowls that I use, the coconut bowl that I used for the smoothie bowl in this episode earlier for breakfast. That is one of my favorite gifts. It comes with 2 bowls, some chopsticks, a reusable napkin, a reusable lunchbox made out of metal, and that's all about limiting your impact on the environment, your footprint. It was an amazing gift. It was my favorite gift of the holiday season. I'll never forget that. I'll put a link to that below as well as the apron below the description in the video. So check that out if you're interested. And I just want to say I love you. Thank you very much for always supporting the show and always being there for us. All right, guys, that's our video for today. Please hit that like button. Show us some love. What's not to like? If you haven't subscribed yet, please hit the subscribe button. You'll get notified every time we have a new video, usually every Monday. If there's a DIY, that's on Wednesday. And there's Baking with Tim or anything like that, those will be on Saturday. And leave a comment below. All right, thanks for sticking with me this long. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.